Davy Jones, during his adult life, would struggle with alcoholism. On December 18, 1993, Jones was arrested in Selinsgrove, Pennsylvania, for drunk driving after reportedly swerving erratically between lanes on a road in the Pennsylvania town, which was not far from his home in Beavertown, Pennsylvania. Jones was given a bail of $5,000 for his arrest. In 2009, Jones was reported to have challenged multiple patrons in a bar to a fight while intoxicated. During his time filming the Monkees television series, Jones would develop a habit of consuming the stimulant amphetamine, otherwise known as speed, to maintain energy levels for his busy schedule. He would not continue to consume the drug by the end of his life. Jones would recreationally use marijuana during his life, as traces of cannabis were discovered to be in his body during post-mortem toxicology analysis. Jones would reportedly battle with stress during his life, particularly with his third wife, Jessica Pacheco. Pacheco was about 30 years younger than Jones when they married in 2009. Jones and Pacheco would discuss their marital conflict during an increasingly combative conversation on the talk show Dr. Phil in April 2011. Despite this, Jones would deny rumors of domestic violence between him and Pacheco. In July 2011, Pacheco filed for divorce from Jones. The pair would later reconcile by October 2011, and Pacheco would call off the divorce. In May 2011, Jones and his bandmates in the Monkees, Mickey Dolenz, and Peter Tork would embark on a 2-month 45th anniversary tour of the United Kingdom and United States. Before the tour began, Jones underwent a stress test of his heart with a doctor in Hialeah, Florida, to determine if he would be fit enough to begin his tour with the Monkees. Jones' heart was reported at the time to be in the apparent condition of a 25-year-old. During the portions of the tour in the United Kingdom, Pacheco would serve as a dancer for the Monkees. She was reportedly beginning to be perceived as an intrusion by Dolenz and Tork after an incident of off-kilter dancing. The decision was made to not allow Pacheco to continue to dance with the band in subsequent venues in the United States. This reportedly made Jones quite stricken and sad in response to his wife's dismissal. On the final venue of the anniversary tour in the Marcus Amphitheater located in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, Jones was beginning to show signs of exhaustion and shortness of breath, but he dismissed all of these. At the time of his death, Jones was living overweight, which played a negative role in the overall condition of his cardiovascular system. Davy Jones was shown to be suffering from atherosclerosis, a condition of gradual plaque buildup in the arteries, at the time of his death. His height of about 5 foot 4 inches was a likely contributing factor in his development of heart disease. Davy Jones' last performance was held at the B.B. King Blues Club in Manhattan, New York, on February 18, 2012. At the performance, some had noted Jones' noticeable exhaustion when sat down while receiving an encore and unusually left early without greeting fans after the show, which was prototypical for Jones. Others made opposite assertions that Jones seemed to be behaving normally during the performance. On the morning of February 29, 2012, Jones, who was an avid horseback rider, rode one of his favorite horses, Zur, around a horse track in Indiantown, Florida. After finishing his ride, Jones had begun experiencing chest discomfort, which he had been dealing with for the past few days. Jones had been chalking up his undiagnosed angina to symptoms of heartburn and digestion, taking anti-acid medication in an attempt to subdue his symptoms. Some symptoms of heartburn and the onset of a heart attack are very similar and are easy to misdiagnose. On this particular day, Jones reportedly had been supplied heartburn medication and water by the wife of the stable owner. With the symptoms of alleged heartburn not subsiding, Davy Jones made the decision to return home early, heading to his car. Shortly after 8 a.m. that morning, Jones collapsed at his car after suffering a major cardiac event. Jones was soon discovered by a ranch hand, and emergency services were called. An ambulance arrived to the ranch shortly after the 911 call was placed, and paramedics discovered that Jones had no pulse. They quickly began resuscitation attempts, which included administering defibrillators, oxygen, and cardiopulmonary resuscitation techniques. Post-mortem evidence revealed that the chest compressions that Jones received were strong enough to break the anterior lateral left and right ribs. At 9:30 a.m., the ambulance containing Jones arrived at Martin Memorial Hospital in Stuart, Florida. There, Jones was rushed into the emergency room, where more efforts were made to save Jones' life, including the implementation of an tracheostomy tube and an electrocardiogram or ECG machine. At 9:23 a.m., Davy Jones was ultimately pronounced dead. He was 66 years old. His death was initially reported by the media to be due to an apparent heart attack. After his death, many celebrities of the whole entertainment industry paid tribute on various social media platforms. Some of the celebrities included Will Smith, Alyssa Milano, and Michelle Branch, who all tweeted, "Rest in peace," respectively. Other celebrities who reacted to Jones' death included Ralph Macchio, Nancy Sinatra, John Lennon's son Julian Lennon, Billy Corgan of the band The Smashing Pumpkins, Gilbert Gottfried, Will Wheaton, Kevin Smith, Andy Cohen, Al Roker, Neil Diamond, Elijah Wood, Patton Oswalt, and Matt Nathanson. His Monkees bandmates all reacted publicly to Davy Jones' death in their own respective statements. Mickey Dolenz stated, "I am in a state of shock. Davy and I grew up together and shared in the unique success of what became the Monkees phenomena. The time we worked together is something I'll never forget. He was the brother I never had, and this leaves a gigantic hole in my heart. The memories have and will last a lifetime. My condolences go out to his family." Michael Nesmith had stated in a portion of his own public statement on Facebook, "David's spirit and soul live well in my heart, among all the lovely people, who remember with me the good times, and the healing times, that were created for so many, including us. I have fond memories. I wish him safe travels." Peter Tork, in a statement about Jones published also on Facebook, said, "It is with great sadness that I reflect on the sudden passing of my longtime friend and fellow adventurer, David Jones. His talent will be much missed, his gifts will be with us always. My deepest sympathy to Jessica and the rest of his family. Adios, to the Manchester Cowboy. Peace and love, Peter T." In a later autopsy conducted in Florida, Jones' cause of death was determined to be due to ventricular fibrillation caused by a heart attack from atherosclerosis. Ventricular fibrillation is a form of cardiac arrhythmia where the ventricles abnormally spasm and stop properly pumping blood throughout the body. This dangerously lowers blood pressure and the corresponding amount of oxygenated blood circulating in the body, leading to cardiac arrest and death. It was shown that Jones had a damaged left ventricle in his autopsy report. His autopsy report also showed that Jones had minimal foci of parenchymal fibrosis and minimal myocardial fibrosis. This meant that portions of Jones' heart muscle and its tissue died and were replaced by scar tissue. This was an indicative sign of myocardial ischemia. Davy Jones' remains were cremated, and he had a small private funeral held for him at Holy Cross Catholic Church in Indiantown on March 7, 2012. The funeral service was attended by Jones' current wife, his 4 daughters from previous marriages, and other family members. According to the Reverend of the church, Frank O'Laughlin, Jones' songs, "I'll Love You Forever," and "Written in My Heart," were performed at the funeral service. Jessica Pacheco's brother Joseph Pacheco reportedly delivered the eulogy. Davy Jones' first horse trainer and the members of his solo band were reported to have attended this service. His ashes were subsequently transported to his native Manchester, England, for another private memorial service on March 11, 2012. The service took place at Lees Street Congregational Church in the Manchester neighborhood of Openshaw. Jones' family decided not to invite his Monkees bandmates to both services. Jones' niece, Beverly Barber, stated the rationale behind the family's decision to keep his memorial services private, saying, "We needed a little bit of time on our own. We managed to keep it very private and very personal. From a family perspective, we've said our goodbye. All his family together in one room. He'd have been thrilled to bits to see that." Mickey Dolenz expressed his support for him and his other surviving Monkees members being excluded from attending both services, stating, "My understanding is the family want to avoid a media circus and the family wants to keep it very, very low-key and very, very private. And you can imagine as soon as one or two or any of us were to show up, it would very quickly be degraded into something that I don't think his immediate family would want to deal with."